Process mastery has been a really interesting thing for us since it's basically been with us for around about 16 years now, this textbook. Now, when I originally wrote the first edition, it took me 2 years to put together. And then we realised that it wasn't up to scratch, it didn't have enough information in it, so we came up with the second edition. And the second edition took me 1,246 hours of typing to finish. And basically this is an updated version of the original textbook, and it's now used by people and practitioners around the world when they're doing business improvement utilising these different methodologies. Now, the reason I actually put this together was to give people who are going to do business improvement a practitioner's view of the utilisation of these Lean and Six Sigma methodologies. I think the thing that really pushed me down the path of putting this book together was originally frustration. It was frustration in what I was being taught. I was exposed to a lot of tools, a lot of discipline around the utilisation of each tool and how it was applied and things like that. We went down the path of studying statistics, and there was this big focus on the mathematics behind the statistics and all of the theory around statistical analysis. And what I realised when I got involved in leading project work is that the theory didn't apply in the real world. So this focus on the individual pieces and this focus on the maths behind it and the software and things like that didn't get to the crux of it, and that is basically, if you have a holistic view of business improvement, you're there to solve a problem, you're there to close a gap in performance. So after leading 8 projects, I basically consolidated all of the information that I had around learning in the application of these things and trial and error and reviewing what we were doing, and the consolidation of that turned out to be a ton of information that could be put into a book form. So it's interesting because when I originally wrote this book, it was basically a book for me. It was the consolidation of my notes that they had it all together in one place. But then when people saw it, they realised that it was better than one person's notes. It was something that a lot of people wanted to get their hands on. So it ended up becoming a book, and that was what was really the driver behind putting it together. What was interesting to me was that I learnt most of what I know today about the correct technical application of the different tools when I wrote the second edition. I didn't get it so much in the first edition, which was when I was consolidating my notes from project work. I didn't get it so much when I was doing the project work itself. And the reason is quite simple. We were going to go public with this, and we realised that we had something good here that people wanted. So I thought, well, I better put the effort behind the scenes, and I did a lot of research on the utilisation of the different tools. And that involved going to the originators of some of these tools. I contacted people who'd been in Motorola at the time when they developed in the late 80s and early 90s the Six Sigma methodology, and I got to speak to people who had detailed knowledge of the utilisation of different tools in the motor vehicle manufacturing industry, particularly when we're talking about lean. And what I learned was that the intent of a lot of tools has actually been lost. People get trained in a methodology, right? And that methodology is taught to them through the perception of the person teaching it. Now, you can get this snowball effect of errors where the person teaching it hasn't had much experience in it, so they regurgitate the theoretical approach to it that they've been given, and that's occurred many times. So people were passing on this information, and I got exposed to that. Once we started to do the project work, understanding fully what the intent was behind all of the different tools, and the toolkit is quite extensive, once I understood that, right, that was where my project leadership capability went through the roof. And we're able to utilise only those tools we needed to use at a given point in time and maintain that focus on what we're trying to achieve here, and that is to solve the problem, close the performance gap, and get an outcome through the project work. I often get asked, why did I call it Process Mastery with Lean Six Sigma? And the answer is this. There's a number of elements there that relate to what we're trying to do here. First of all, process mastery. It alludes to the idea that our goal is to master processes. And if you think about your business, it's nothing more than a collection of processes and systems. So without those systems and processes, you don't actually have a business. The reason Lean and Six Sigma is in there is because most of the work that you're going to do to close performance gaps, to improve the performance of an organisation, are going to be when you address one of two issues. The first issue would be throughput issues. In situations where you're trying to reduce cycle time, you're trying to get things through a process faster, or you're trying to produce more with a process, or you're trying to reduce work in progress and capital that is tied up in a process, or inventory, or you're just trying to pull out of the system waste that is obvious to you. Well, they're all throughput issues, and lean is the methodology that predominantly focuses on that. Now, the second type of problem that you're going to address or issue is going to be process variation. And process variation appears in situations where you are producing defects, making faulty things, or delivering a service that requires a rework. It's not up to the scratch or up to the standard of the customer. You might be in a situation where the average performance of a production line or some performance area of the organisation isn't on average meeting target, or it's exceeding the maximum limit or something like that. They're all process variation type issues, and Six Sigma is the methodology that we utilise to address those. Now, the reality of it is it's not one methodology or the other. The goal is to increase business performance. And the way we're doing that is we draw upon a toolkit, and in most cases you're going to draw upon both Lean and Six Sigma. Bit of data analysis up front, which is Six Sigma. You might utilise some Lean tools to understand process performance. You might solve it with with Lean tools or Six Sigma type tools. So these two methodologies will address most of the problems that people have to work on to get performance gains in organisations. That's why we call it Process Mastery with Lean Six Sigma.